Yeah, we want to talk about physical methods of weed control. This is quite different from mechanical methods. Probably they could be similar. So let's start the presentation. So physical methods of weed control is what we're going to talk about. When we talk of physical methods of weed control, we are looking at the use of water, fire, steaming, frost, mulching, solarization, gamma radiation, and electrocution. About 8 things. So let us start with flooding. Now, flooding can be done in rice. Here, water can be used to kill weeds through flooding, but the rice can survive flooding. So other plants can be killed. Flooding creates conditions which are not suitable for plant growth. For example, anaerobic conditions are created which can cause death of roots and shoots, because when you have a lot of water, oxygen is deficient, and this can affect the respiration of the plants. Rice can be grown in standing water as well as on dry conditions. This crop can tolerate flooding than most weeds. So many weeds cannot germinate under flooded conditions. This is flooded maize. This is quite undesirable. Although it can kill some weeds, it can also kill the maize. This is a flooded crop which can kill both the crop and the weeds. So we need a crop which tolerates flooding, like rice. In Zimbabwe, actually, we cannot afford the flooding. We need water to irrigate our crops. You can see we have problems of droughts. Flaming or burning. Burning or flaming is the use of heat from open flame or fire to control weeds. Burning has been used to clear agricultural fields in Africa. Wheat and barley straw are sometimes burnt to allow rapid planting. There has been a periodic burning on a rotational basis as a management strategy on cattle farms. So this is burning. If it goes out of control, it becomes undesirable. Burning. Now, in some countries, they use flame burners to control indoor weeds in cotton, maize, and lucerne. So flames fueled by natural gas or liquid propane increase temperature within the weed, causing cells to rupture and effectively killing the weeds. Weeds are more susceptible to heat at the 3 to 5 leaf stage. Here we've got an example where weeds were bent near the maize row, or within the maize row. And of course, this can actually burn some maize leaves, but the maize will recover. Here's the example of equipment which is used in burning weeds. You've got a tank with the fuel, with the pipes. At the end of the pipes, you've got burners which kill weeds. Steaming, this is the passing of hot steam through soils to get rid of weed seeds, disease, and pest propagules. This can be done on high-value crops, ornamental plants, mushrooms, and nursery plants. This may not be feasible in arable lands. I mean, in arable lands, we cannot afford to do steaming. This can be done on a very small scale. Maybe when you are growing some high-value crops. Frost, this is natural frost, which can occur in Zimbabwe around June, July, August. Now, this is actually responsible for reducing weed problems in wheat and barley from May to September. So in wheat, sometimes we don't need to control the weeds because they are killed by frost. However, we do have some weeds which tolerate frost. We've got Chenopodium arbum, Garensoga parviflora, Avena fatua. And those weeds which are susceptible to frost are Erosine indica, Amaranthus hybridus, and Hibiscus musae. Now, some studies on weed competition in wheat revealed that sometimes it was not necessary to control weeds in wheat in frost-prone areas. Now we want to talk about mulching. Mulching is any type of material that is spread or laid over the surface of the soil as a covering. Mulching forms a barrier which prevents the transfer of light, heat, and soil moisture. Now, these are the types of mulches. We've got plant residues, crop residues, leaf litter, grass. Then we could have plastic polythene sheets, which can be clear or black. Or we could talk of live mulch, which can be grown as an intercrop. Here we've got a crop which was mulched. what are the benefits of mulching? Number one, it's the suppression of weed growth. Number two, regulating soil temperature. Three, reduction of soil loss through erosion, conservation of soil moisture. Mulching can add organic matter. It can also add nutrients to the soil. We want to see what can happen to weeds during mulching. Now, probably you should know that phytochrome can control the germination of weed seeds. Here we are talking of small weed seeds. Now, if you come in with the mulch, you create darkness, and phytochrome is changed from phytochrome far red to phytochrome red. Now, phytochrome red will then cause seed dormancy. This means that the seeds are not going to germinate, and therefore there won't be some weeds. On the other hand, phytochrome red, during the presence of light, especially when there is bare soil, it is converted to phytochrome far red, which will induce seed germination. Then the seed germination will result in weed seedlings. Then we will have weeds. This is how mulching can regulate weed seedling emergence. So let us start with the big weeds. Let's look at the big weeds. They do not need the phytochrome signal for germination in darkness. Mulch causes the following effects. It can cause etiolation, abnormal growth. Weed seedling is chasing for light most of the time. So there is chlorosis, lack of chloroplasts, no photosynthesis, no carbohydrates. Then there is starvation and death. Some weeds could escape through the mulch, for example, shamba grass. Another issue is allelopathy, which can be caused by mulch. We now know that weeds or crops could produce harmful substances, chemicals via leaves or roots, which adversely affect the growth of either weeds or crops. So mulch can produce chemicals which kill weed seedlings. Examples are sorghum residues, which can kill Acanthospermum hispidum, Leucine indica, or Bidens pilosa. So as we have just explained, crop residues may reduce weed germination and the crop growth in two ways, either neuropathy or altering light quality. So the neuropathic effects of crop residues have been reported in barley. They've also been reported in oats, sorghum, wheat, and rye. We've got examples of weeds which are controlled by wheat straw, as well as multi-purpose mulch and the sorghum. Soybean residues were also found to reduce weed seedling emergence. These are mulches. Now, conservation agriculture, conservation tillage is actually being used to reduce weeds. It's any system of tillage which leaves more than 30% covered by crop residues. About 60% of large-scale commercial land at some point was under a form of conservation tillage. Conservation farming or pfumvudza involves the following: minimum tillage, mulch retention, crop rotation, and intercropping with legumes. Here, the farmer is digging holes in conservation farming. This can be labor intensive. Again, farmers showing conservation farming. Mulching was now done in conservation farming. You can see the grass which is covering the soil. Here's mulch in maize, mulch in cotton, again mulch in cotton. So that's it with the mulch. We move on to solarization, which is another form of mulching. This is the trapping of solar energy using plastic sheets. This can kill pests and diseases. Actually, this could be a substitute for EDB or methyl bromide, which were banned for this purpose. This is an example of solarization using plastic sheets. Again, a combination of solarization and drip irrigation. In solarization, you can see holes which have been made to allow the crop to grow through. Basically, the plastic will trap light and heat, which will be used to kill the weeds. In solarization in maize, then you can see the plastic sheets in the maize. So with the solarization, we are simply covering the soil surface with the plastic mulches. The mulches will create heat, and this heat will kill the weeds by raising the temperatures. So the incoming radiation is trapped. Also, outgoing long wave radiation is also trapped. Actually, white plastic is more efficient than colored plastic. Now, timing is very important when using a cabin. Yeah. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Now, I was talking about the effect of plastic sheets on in killing weeds. Now, using black plastic sheets in a cold season like June to August was not efficient in killing weeds. The temperatures were not high enough. But when it was now done, as from August to November, temperatures could rise up to 55 degrees Celsius, and this was sufficient to kill weeds. Another issue was that the availability of nutrients was also increased. Ammonia and carbon dioxide was also increased, which could also disinfect the soil. Now, we want to talk about gamma radiation. This is the bombardment of weed seeds in the soil using gamma radiation. It's a sophisticated and expensive equipment. Although this can kill some weeds, we may not afford to use gamma radiation. Electrocution, high voltage can be applied to weeds to kill them. But we know electricity is in short supply in Africa, so this method may not be suitable. Here I've got two questions which you may want to attempt. For example, discuss the applicability of any 5 physical methods of weed control as weed management options for farmers in Zimbabwe. The other one is describe the differences between fast shallow cultivation and in-row cultivation and provide an example of a field equipment used for each. So that's it. Thank you. I'll have to stop here. So we've just discussed the physical methods of weed control. So I'll end it here.